You know what I like to do when I'm recovering from a cold on New Year's? I like to look at some graded cards. Alright, so I did a video a little while back of my graded Chicago Bears cards. Now I'm going to do a video with all my other graded cards. I don't have a ton of graded cards. I do love graded cards, but I like ungraded cards just as much for the most part. It is nice to have them in a slab, no question. And so these are a handful, well, these are the rest of my graded cards. So I'm going to start off with a few basketball cards. So I'm primarily a football card collector, but I also collect Utah Jazz. I'm a big Jazz fan. This is a 2017-18 Panini Essentials Rookies of Donovan Mitchell in a CSG slab. This is my only CSG card. I picked this up at a local card show a year or two ago. It's been a little while, but happy to have that. And these slabs are pretty nice. The majority of my cards are PSA, but there's a Donovan Mitchell rookie right there. And then this is one that my brother got me a couple years back. This is another Donovan Mitchell. This is a Prestige rookie card. I was a big fan of Donovan Mitchell. He came at just the right time for the Utah Jazz. We had Gordon Hayward, who we had drafted, and he had been making progress year after year after year, and then he became an all-star, which is what we had all been hoping for as a fan, and then he immediately left and went to the Celtics. So people were kind of discouraged about that, and we drafted Donovan Mitchell that same year, and he came in and just lit it up, and he's been a fantastic player. He's on Cleveland now. It was really tough to see him go, but happy to have a couple of his rookie cards graded there. And then this is Stockton and Malone. Growing up as a kid, they were my two favorites. So this is my Karl Malone 98 Finest in a Gem Mint 10. I just wanted to have a Gem Mint Karl Malone card slabbed up, and I like the Topps Finest cards, so was happy to get that one. This is one that I got for my birthday from my brother. Yeah, I think he's done a good job of getting me Jazz cards for my birthday the last couple of years. So this is Pistol Pete Maravich. This is his only card with the Utah Jazz. As you can see here, he just played for part of one season here in Utah. Great shooter, great player. And so very happy to have that one from 1979 Topps. And then I have a couple others. This one right here is Aaron James, 1975 Topps New Orleans Jazz, which is where they were just before, for a few years, just before moving out here to Utah. This is in an 8. And Aaron James, he had 5 years with the New Orleans Jazz. He was also, ironically, drafted by the Utah Stars in the ABA, but he never actually played in Utah with the Stars or the Jazz, but he was the very first Jazz draft pick in the history of the team. So I wanted to have that card. Next up, I've got Ron Boone. He's a fan favorite here for sure. Still here in the community even now as a color commentator for Jazz games. He's been doing that really for as long as I can remember, and that's how I've known him. He played for the Utah Stars and the Utah Jazz, and he once held a record for the most consecutive games played in pro basketball history. AC Green later passed that up. But Ron Boone was a very talented ABA player. He won the 1971 ABA championship with the Utah Stars, so the Jazz have never won. They went twice with Stockton and Malone, but Michael Jordan made sure that they would not get a championship, unfortunately for Jazz fans anyway. But he's a 4-time ABA All-Star and part of the ABA All-Time Team. So there's a Ron Boone from 75 Topps. And my most valuable basketball card is this one right here. This is a Moses Malone rookie card from 1975 Topps in a Near Mint 8. If you followed the NBA for a while, I'm sure you're very familiar with Moses Malone. He's a 3-time NBA MVP. He was drafted in 1974 by the Stars straight out of high school. So he went out to Utah, was an all-rookie in the ABA. He played for the Rockets, 76ers, Hawks, Bucks, Bullets, Spurs. He might have played for somebody else as well. He played for a long, long time. And in 1983, he was the NBA Finals MVP and a member of the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, or the Basketball Hall of Fame. He passed away back in 2015. He was only 60 years old at the time. All right, next up, I've got Jim Eakins. This is Jumbo Eakins, 1975 Topps ABA. This is what the back of these look like. So Jumbo Eakins played at BYU, so he played his college ball in Utah, and he spent 2 years with the Stars. He went on to play for the Nets and the Kings, the Bucks, and I think the Spurs. And he's a two-time ABA champ. He was a 1974 ABA All-Star. And then his teammate in 75 is right here. This is Al Smith. I love that card, and I love the old ABA balls. They were very colorful. So Al Smith, he actually passed away just this past year. Well, it might have been in 2022, but not long ago. But anyway, in 1974, he was the ABA assist leader. He also played with the Rockets along with the Stars. And then next up, I've got Randy Denton, another 75 Topps. I was thinking at one time of maybe getting the entire run of 75 Topps Stars players, and I still might do that. Randy Denton had an 8-year NBA ABA career. He averaged about 12 points per game. And then the other card that I have from 75 is this PSA 8 of the Utah Stars team leaders. And this one actually, you've got guys that I mentioned before. Ron Boone led the team in scoring and free throws. And then Moses Malone in rebounds. So another Moses Malone Utah Stars card, as well as Al Smith for the assists right there. Here's another Ron Boone right here. This one's a Mint 9. Shows him again. Both of those cards show him during his All-Star years for the Stars right there. And then, let's see. Okay, next up I've got Willie Wise. He was another guy that was really popular here in Utah. He had an 8-year career in the NBA and ABA. Or it might have been longer than that. But anyway, I know that in 77, he had a career-ending injury. So maybe he may have played a little longer than that then. Well, he started in 69, so. But, yeah, he played in Utah. He was an ABA All-Star. He was part of the Utah Stars 71 championship team. And he was actually drafted by the LA Stars when they were in Los Angeles, and then they moved to Utah. So there's Willie Wise. And then another Ron Boone right here. This is his 1973. And then got another Willie Wise as well. And I love the 72 Topps. That's a nice card right there of Willie Wise. And then my last one is one of my favorite basketball cards right here. We've got Jerry Sloan back with the Chicago Bulls. So I always knew him as Coach Sloan. He was the coach here for 23 years. He made it to the finals with Stockton and Malone twice. He's a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. He was a tough-nosed player for the Bulls and a tough-nosed coach for the Jazz. He passed away a couple of years back. I think it was in 2020. But he is just beloved here in Utah. And love that card. Seeing him so young there. A great coach. Great coach for sure. So he started in 65 with Baltimore. Mr. Reliable. All right, so those are my basketball cards. And now I will jump into football. So this right here is a 1998 Stadium Club Leading Legends of Jerry Rice. This is in a PSA Mint 9. Sweet looking card. I actually got this in a hot pack from J.R. Specie. He's got a great channel. If you guys don't know him, you can definitely check him out. But I bought a hot pack a few years back, and this card was in there, and I always liked that card. And then I have a couple Alex Smiths. You guys may know I'm a big fan of his. This is his 2005 Topps rookie in a Gem Mint 10. And happy to have that one. And it's kind of funny. So I got this card the other day in a mail day from Zach and Porter, and I thought it looked familiar, but I didn't think I had it. I thought I had a variation of this, but it turns out that is the card that I also have of his. So this is a Gem Mint 10 Alex Smith rookie card right there. But this is nice because I can put this in my Alex Smith PC and still have that one for the graded collection. So very happy to have that too. All right, next up, this is a guy who played junior college in the state of Utah and became a really good player in the NFL. This is a Corey Dillon Topps Chrome Mint 9 rookie card from 1997. So happy to pick that one up as well. Very talented running back for quite a few years. And I am a huge fan of James Brooks. He's one of my all-time favorite non-Chicago Bears. This was a 87 Topps Gem Mint 10, and I'm pretty partial to the 87 Topps. That was the set that my brother opened, that I watched him open, and that's what really got me into wanting to collect. And so I got a really good price on that a couple years back and couldn't pass that one up, so I picked that up. And this right here is the James Brooks from 1985 in a Mint 9. These ones are harder to get in 10s just because of the black borders. But again, another James Brooks card that I really, really love. I may try to make a player run of his at some point, though I'm not sure. But I'm considering it anyway. And then these next few, if you watched my show and tell video for the USFL, you may have seen these in those videos, but I did pick up a handful of graded USFL cards when I was trying to complete my set, and that included Scott Norwood. He was actually a talented kicker, went to the Pro Bowl once or twice, but very much known for his missed field goal that would have given the Bills a Super Bowl championship in that string of 4 straight that they went to. Really talented receiver, Ricky Sanders, who went on to have 1,000-yard seasons with the Washington Redskins. Gary Plummer, a really solid linebacker who went on to play for the San Diego Chargers in a Mint 9. And then this is one of I had a handful of cards that I needed to finish this set that were more difficult to get than the others, and this is one of them. Herschel Walker, 84 Topps, near Mint 7. It was crazy how expensive these were going for at the time. So a 7 was about my cap as far as what I was willing to spend at that time. And the reason I decided to get these last few graded, including this one right here with the Reggie White and a 7, was because I had purchased a Reggie White raw, ungraded, and it was very obviously trimmed. I even had a video where I showed it, but it was just super obvious, the trimming that had been done on that one. The seller refunded the money and I shipped it back, but after that I was like, for these last couple of cards, because they're bigger names, I'm just going to get them graded, in a graded condition. So here's the Reggie White, one of the all-time great defensive players ever, the Minister of Defense. Love Reggie White. He's the reason that my youngest brother, my late brother Brad, he was a huge Green Bay Packers fan, and it was all because of Reggie White. So everybody else in the family is Chicago Bears, but my brother Brad was Green Bay Packers. All right, and then this one right here, the Jim Kelly Near Mint 8, his XRC card. He was just great. College, USFL, NFL, great player there for sure. All right, this next one is Joe Delaney. So this is a Joe Delaney rookie card from 1982 Topps in a Mint 9. He had a short but excellent career. He only played 2 seasons. And in 1981, he was the Rookie of the Year. He made the Pro Bowl. Just a fantastic first season. Yeah, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry, 1,100 yards. Just a very fast, agile, strong running back. I'm going to include a link to some of his highlights, because if you don't know Joe Delaney, I would go check those out. And the reason I became a fan of his, he unfortunately passed away in 1983. I was not even familiar with him until well after he had passed away, but I saw an NFL Films on him, and it just really, he left an impression. He was at a park in the off season. There were some kids playing in a watering hole pond. At some spots it was 6 feet deep, and they were drowning. And Delaney, even though he didn't know how to swim, he was very heroic, and he jumped in. He was able to pull one kid to safety, went back for the others. Unfortunately, he drowned. He was only 24 years old, but a real hero. We use that word in sports a lot, but I mean, to me, that is a real hero. Now, what's really cool is his nephew is Terrace Marshall Jr., who plays wide receiver for the Panthers. And so it's really cool to see someone from his family in the league today. All right, next up, I showed this on a mail day a long time back, but Another guy who did in NFL films, he had passed away, Ricky Bell, passed away from a very rare heart condition. But he was like a top draft pick for the Buccaneers and looked to be kind of a disappointment. He was picked ahead of Tony Dorsett. But then when he got to his prime for 1979, he was just fantastic. Yeah, ran for almost 1,300 yards. And this team that was, fairly new to the NFL ended up really making a run in the playoffs, almost made it to the Super Bowl. And this is a Ricky Bell autograph. And, back then they didn't really have the Sharpies, so it's just the pen signature right there. But I thought that would be a really cool one to have. I saw there's a movie, a made-for-TV movie about him, and that along with the NFL Films documentary, again, always kind of made me really, appreciate him as a player. And so I was really happy I was able to get that autograph. And then we got Irv Cross right here. This is a guy who I knew as an analyst, a commentator for NFL games. And because of that growing up, just kind of was a fan of his. And so when I had an opportunity to pick up his card here, I made sure to do that. So, yeah, Irv Cross. And this is a guy that I've always just been a big fan of, Ron Jaworski, Jaws. I don't see him as much these days on TV, but I always loved when, he'd go in for interviews and give his insight and analysis on football. Played for the Eagles, and at the very end of his career, he was on the Chiefs. They made some 1990, I believe, cards. I think Score has a 90 card of him, just looking like an old football player at the time, but always a big fan of his. That's his rookie card. And then this is the very first graded card I ever bought. This is a 77 Topps Steve Largent rookie card in a BCC G8. I did not know. This is right after I got back into collecting. I always wanted this card, and I bought it on eBay. I had no idea that, different grading cards at the time were more highly thought of than others, so I had no idea. But just happy to have the rookie card right here. And my next show and tell video is actually going to be on the 77 Topps, so I'm excited to be able to do that one. And speaking of 77 Topps, right here, Vince Papale, big fan of his from the movie with Mark Wahlberg, Invincible. Is that what it's called? Invincible? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, loved the movie, had never heard the story, went out to see if he had a football card, and sure enough, he has one. So this is a guy who basically went to an Eagles tryout, kind of a publicity stunt more than anything else, and ended up actually making the team and played for a few years with them. So really happy to have that card as well. All right, next up, I've got this Mike Anderson. He played for the University of Utah. This is his Bowman Chrome rookie card in a mint 9. And then, let's see, this one right here, this is, man, you know what, this is, I don't talk prices too often on this. This is the most expensive card I've ever purchased. I've never spent more on a football card than I did on this one right here. This is the Ernie Davis, only, I guess, quote-unquote, playing days card, 1962 Topps. He followed in Jim Brown's footsteps at Syracuse, and he actually played so well he won the Heisman Trophy in 1961. He was the first pick of the Washington Redskins, but was traded right away to Cleveland. And right before the College All-Star game, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and that he never played a game in the NFL. He was diagnosed with leukemia, and he had passed away when he was only 23 years old. His number 45 is retired by the Cleveland Browns. He's a part of College Football Hall of Fame, and they made a movie a while back called The Express, if you're interested in checking that out. But I was really happy that Topps actually made a card of him, and and that I actually was able to get that in my collection. So one of my Grail cards is going to be the Ditka from that year. So maybe one day, I'm hoping. All right, next up we've got Larry Wilson. He is another Utah Ute. He is an NFL legend. He played safety, 8-time Pro Bowler during his 13 years, 6-time All-Pro, 66 Defensive Player of the Year when he led the NFL in interceptions. He's part of the 60s and 70s All-Decade team, part of the 75th and 100 anniversary teams. His number 8 is retired by the Cardinals, and he's part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So happy to have this Kellogg's card. I always love these Kellogg's cards. They're pretty cool. That's a sharp-looking card right there in the 9. All right, next up, Again, this is my second graded card, BCCG again, Larry Wilson. I'm sure at the time I was probably thinking, wow, these are a lot cheaper than the other ones, so I'll get this version. But this is the 69 Topps in a quote-unquote near mint 9. I can tell you right now it is not a 9. Maybe a 6.5. And then one of my all-time favorite college players, Robert Turbin. This is his Gem Mint 10 2012 Topps Chrome. And then I also have his, and this is a Beckett Topps Chrome rookie autograph right there. 9.5 with a 10 auto. So happy to have that one as well. And this one is numbered out of 178. All right, next up, just have a few more. This one right here, this is a Rulon Jones rookie card. Now, they did include him in the 1981 Topps of the team leaders for sack leaders, but this is considered his rookie card. This is a mint 9. He's from Salt Lake City, played at Utah State, second-round draft pick back in 1980. And in 1986, that was his best year. He was a first-team All-Pro, made the Pro Bowl a couple of times. And then I've got, let's see, okay, these are Bill Munson. I have his 65, as well as his 66, and also his 69 here with the Lions. So Bill Munson was a quarterback at Utah State. He was a first-round draft pick back in 64 by the Rams. He had a 16-year NFL career. He passed away back in 2000. He was only 58 at the time, but he was another notable Utah State Aggie. And so, I went to school there and a big fan of theirs, so I like to collect these. And then another Utah State guy, that is the 1971 Alty Taylor. I don't know if that's his rookie card or not. It might be. I need to go check on that. And then the 74 Topps as well. He was a really talented running back, second-round pick of the Lions in 69. He had an 8-year career, and in 1975, he became the Lions' all-time leading rusher. Obviously, that has been passed, Barry Sanders among others. But in 1973, he was the Lions MVP, and he also passed away pretty young. He was only 62. He passed away back in 2010, but a big part of those Lions teams from back in the day. All right, next up, this right here, this is Mike Connolly. I picked this one up a while back in a mail day on my channel. He was a center and a guard, played at Utah State, 12th round draft pick by the Rams. He played 8 years with the Cowboys and his final year with the Steelers. He actually went to Tom Landry in 1968 and said, hey, I'm only playing one more year. He was immediately traded to the Steelers, but true to his word, he just played that 1 year and then retired. He passed away a couple years ago at the age of 85. And another who unfortunately has passed away, one of my all-time favorite football players ever, legend here in Utah and at Utah State. This is Merlin Olsen. All-time Aggie legend. There is a statue in front of the stadium for him that is fantastic. He was a 2-time All-American. He won the Outland Trophy. He had a 15-year Hall of Fame career, and he went to 14 straight Pro Bowls. The only time he didn't make the Pro Bowl was his final season. He was just dominant, and part of the 75th and 100th anniversary all-time team. His number 74 is retired. What I knew him for, and here's the 72. I really like the 72. But what I know him from best was Little House on the Prairie. I watched that as a kid all the time, and he was on that. He was also on another show called Father Murphy, and he was an analyst for football games as well. And he called the Bears Super Bowl 20 as well. Terry over at TJ Maxx showed some great Merlin Olsen cards recently, and he mentioned that his voice was very comforting, which I agree with. And this is his second-year card right here. One thing you'll notice with these is that they're all near mint 8. I am trying to do a player run of his with all PSA 8s, and this is his rookie card right here. Love that card. So yeah, I'm trying to make a player run of his, and I'm hoping one day to have them all. I've got the first two. I'm looking to get the 66 Philadelphia currently, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of my Merlin Olsen collection. But he was a great player, and considered the greatest Utah State football player of all time, and one of the greatest NFL players of all time. And then I'll end on this one. If you've watched all my videos, you've probably seen it. I did a Tom Brady collection a long time ago in a video, but this was the most exciting pull that I ever had. So this is a Tom Brady Elite 2017 Spellbound, and as you can see there, it's a 1 of 1. So I opened that. I remember going to my local card shop, buying 2 or 3 packs, going out to my vehicle, and I opened them before I even went home, and I pulled this, and my hand started shaking, and I just couldn't believe I had that. And so I was very, very careful to make sure that I took care of that card until I could get it home and get it protected. And I only have sent 3 cards to PSA in my whole life through my card shop here that doesn't even exist anymore. If it did, I think I would use that some more. And it came back a Gem Mint 10. So it's a Tom Brady Spellbound Gold 1 of 1 PSA 10. So I was very thrilled both to get that card and then also to have it returned with a PSA 10. So so that will do it for today. Here is the rest of my collection. So these are the non-Chicago Bears cards from my collection that are graded. And that's all of them. That's all I've got that are slabbed up. But thank you very much for watching. I know that was kind of a long video, so I appreciate your time if you made it through to the end. And as always, go Bears.